Camelot Whistleblower Radio, and we are on the air with George Green this morning for the first 10 minutes, which should be very interesting. We are having some amazingly bizarre economics things going on, both in Europe and America, well, all over the world, I'm sure. So I asked George to come on to give an update because apparently something pretty dire is going on in the markets today as well. George, you there?
I'm here, Carrie. Thank you.
So what exactly is going on?
Well, just in the last couple hours, our stock market's dropped another 200 points, which doesn't really mean anything because the whole thing is so manipulated. They had last week when they had the big drop, they said there was a computer glitch. The truth is 60% of the market in the United States is run by mutual funds and trusts and retirement accounts run by just a few people, and they're all regulated by their computers. And what is happening is right now is the computers start to see a stock drop, they keep going. However, there's another outfit which they call the Plunge Committee, and that's the members of the floor. They're on the floor of the exchange that represent the Federal Reserve, which is putting all this money into motion. The CNN this morning made an announcement. They predict the way the market's going right now, it'll drop down probably down to 500, well, not 500, 5,000, they said. Of course, I've said it's going to go down to about 3,500, but I'm just watching it because there's nothing behind this. This is all blue sky. Meanwhile, Europe's in a quandary right now. As you know, the UK is not a member of the Euro, but they do have some administration things that are happening. Well, their change of their government, meanwhile, the pigs, you're familiar with that, Portugal, Ireland, and Greece, and Spain are all financially insolvent. And even though they're going to bail out, supposedly, Greece, how are they going to bail it out with other than loans from the IMF and also the World Bank and our Federal Reserve, which it comes back, and which we're basically broke, as you know, in the United States. Every state but two of them are upside down. They don't have in other words, they're deeply in debt, and they're going bankrupt. Well, this is affecting the gold market as we were speaking. It went up 50 points in the first 20 minutes of trading today. In other words, it was up almost at 1,300. It's dropped back down a little bit today, but only because of what's going on. Nobody has a safe place to put money except for in gold and silver, and most people are prevented from buying gold, for instance, in Europe, unless they buy some other kind of commodity. So it's a real challenge for people to get some kind of security within the game. Now, gold is merely a storage of wealth. So I don't recommend anybody understand that. That's all it is. It's a storage of wealth that will be able to transfer it to whatever currency. Now, I say whatever currency because yesterday the IMF is meeting, and they're meeting again today. This is more important, for a new world currency, something that is going to replace the dollar as a world basis. And now this is the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, as you know, are based out of Switzerland, which is the 13 families that control the world, and that's through the Bank of International Settlements. So that's to kind of bring you up to date with this morning. I'm concerned. Well,
okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just concerned what people can do at this minute because everybody, we're in the same boat. What do you do when you get, I have a friends that collect platinum, for instance, and they say, well, we've got platinum and palladium, and the problem is we don't want to get rid of it because what do we put it in? Every currency is fiat.
Right. Well, my understanding is all of this is to prop up the U.S. dollar. Am I wrong?
Well, they're trying to make it strong. They're just demanding it is because it's been the currency of choice. But remember, the OPEC is meeting also to try to create something new because they don't want to use the dollar. That was pegged a long time ago for the price of oil. Well, how come they're keeping the oil down with the big oil spill right at the minute? Now I'm talking about less than, $80 a barrel. It's down, and it was 80 last week, and now they're playing with that. We know that it's going to be going up higher than that merely because of the availability. They also don't recognize, because that one oil spill, which is wrecking all, as you know, the Mexico and the United States on our coastlines right now, the United States imports 75% of its oil. Well, I have to look at, if you pull up on the world oil supplies and see where it's all going, China is now becoming the biggest user of oil, or in relationship coming on with the United States, and they have currency that people are willing to take in that point, and they're out buying all the oil rigs. South America, of course, the largest exporter. Brazil, and as you know, Argentina and a couple other ones have oil that they've been exported, and especially Venezuela, which is politically unacceptable, but is doing well because they have made a contract with China to buy all their oil for the next 3 years. Well, in Mexico, according to my sources, their oil rigs basically are going to be out of oil, other than new drilling that they may have out that they could be able to do, because where this well it's currently being, spilling oil all over the ocean, that field can do it, but it takes 4 to 5 years to bring those things online. So meanwhile, we're looking at major problems over here. And the world's looking at major problems because where do you go to put your money?
Okay, so what about this IMF bailout, though? My understanding, is that this is really absurd. This is something that they used to do for third world countries, right? So,
but who's behind the IMF? That's the
exactly.
International Monetary Fund. What's behind it?
Is this? For all intents and purposes, isn't it the Europeans on the euro?
Well, yeah, but the euro right now is, if it wasn't for Germany holding it all together, and that's what they're all squawking about, why would you think they're having the people in the streets? They're able to sustain themselves. The rest of the countries aren't producing. Look at the unemployment figures that are coming down, at least if we can count on them on our papers right now. And I really can't count on what they're telling us, because my people in Washington and I was with a senator yesterday, and we were discussing, and he says everything that's coming out of Washington is the old story. It's a big lie. He just says, you just can't believe it. We don't know what's going to be happening to this country by the end of the year.
Are you hearing sounds of revolution either here or in Europe at all?
Well, the truth is there's many cities that there's already rioting. They're not telling you about it because of the unemployment that's going on, and the police are keeping it down. Even cities like Phoenix, obviously because of the commotion they're putting on immigration. But 40% of the Americans don't pay taxes, Carrie. 40%. So you have to look at the rest of them. What runs this country? It isn't taxes. It's all run by tariffs. That's according to the Constitution, and corporations pay taxes. But the corporations are smart. They're sending all their businesses out of this country so that if they do have a profit, it's someplace else and it's non-taxed. So what we've done, as you probably are aware, last month, our foreign deficit increased again. Now, when it increased in the amount for that, and the employment figures that they're giving you are a lie because they're based on calculations, and my sources are saying that we're way out of whack. We're probably close to 20% unemployment in the United States. So if the IMF, or if you're talking about it, or the World Bank, that's a reason why it's very concerning to me over the next 5 days to see what is going to come out of the meeting, because they may collapse all the systems as we know them and come up with some new world currency or control, and then everybody will be tagged. And that's basically what they did with our new health bill. Everybody's going to be tagged with a certain ID.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's basically the rollout of the New World Order in spades, is what you're saying.
I'm saying it's exactly the 13 families control the whole thing, and the people behind the scenes. And I have, as you know, I have some connections in there. They're knowing what's, and they're just laughing. They said the American people are going along like it's just a dream. Our financial system's corrupt. The people that are loaning money on houses just borrowed another $12 billion. FDIC is bankrupt. That's the depository insurance corporation that guarantees the depositors. The people's pension funds, and they admitted that the pension funds lost many billions, and they've come back up arbitrarily because they just arbitrarily create the stocks that they want to roll up for the day. The Dow Jones 30, they replace 5 stocks. They don't tell you that they have a new deck of cards every week.
Right. How do you think, do you think that this world currency is really going to be rolled out, anytime soon, or do you think that this is just a lot of more smoke, and that we're going to roll along like this for another, 6 months to a year?
Well, Carrie, then the obviously solution from the guys that are talking behind, they got to get the diversion going. And why do you think? And that's, of course, the war to get started in the Middle East someplace.
Right.
However they're going to get it done. That's a diversion, and then that's going to open up because everybody's currency is going to be in jeopardy. Then that'll begin World War III, but that's been well planned too. So